Yeah.
I'm ready.
Hi, Jane. Yes, good evening, Lunenburg. My name is Brett Ramsden. I'm the Vice Chair of the Lunenburg Sewer Commission. We are starting the meeting now, and we begin that with the Pledge of Allegiance, in which Joe Hurley has a flag for us.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
To the
flag
flag of
of
the United States
of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
for all.
Thank you all. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised, just making sure I'm on camera, that this meeting of the Sewer Commission is being recorded and will be able to be found on the Lunenburg Access YouTube channel after the meeting. The following information is also provided for members of the public that would like to participate in the meeting remotely. To participate remotely from a computer, please use the link to join the public meeting webinar found on the posted agenda, or from a telephone, please dial toll-free number 888-475-4499 and enter the webinar number ID number 831-8724-9940. If you have not registered with Zoom, you will be asked for your name and email address. Nope. No participant ID is needed. Just press pound when asked. I will do a roll call vote for all members, followed by a roll call vote of our staff. Joseph Hurley.
Here.
And Scott Dahl.
Here.
And Brett Ramsden is here. And thank you, gentlemen. Following with the staff, if we could, I'll ask for Bill Bernard.
I'm here.
Andrew Valerie.
You muted.
You're still mute, but I read your lips.
Yep. Yeah, Valier. Yeah.
All right. Valier. Got it. Hey, and Jane Ranley. Hi, Jane. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Do we have any public for which to have public comments from?
Excuse me.
There is no public on the call at the moment.
Okay. Are there any announcements or comments from the staff or commissioners? Seeing
Nope.
none. Looks like we'll jump right into the current business, folks. And we have an update. Bill, if you could update us on the CWMP.
Yeah, so I found the file finally, and I sent over the executive summary in the first chapter. I couldn't send it all over at once because the file is way too big. But I put together a document that kind of highlighted what it's all about. So I guess I'll just go over
share
the
that,
notes. Yeah, you know what? Why don't I share it?
I've been running into a number of people that do actually follow our meetings after the fact on YouTube, so we can share that information. That'd be great.
Share screen. Share this one. Share. All right.
Excellent.
Okay. Now if I get this out of the way. All right, so the comprehensive wastewater management plan was built over a number of years, starting somewhere around 2005, I believe. And it's the latest update is 2016, and that update looks at the future of the system up through the year 2036. So it's a 20-year plan. let's see, so the plan is to evaluate whether or not conventional on-site, Title V septic systems are adequate for sanitation, environmental protection, and growth management within the town. The town determined that they needed a plan for three factors. Which are there was a concern that the town is not well suited for the conventional Title V septic. They were concerned about population growth and talking about the other concern was the limited capacity of sending wastewater to nearby towns, right? Because we send everything to Leominster and Fitchburg.
Mhm.
So phase one determined that the town has 11 areas that needed study. Phase two identified and described and evaluated several alternatives to address wastewater treatment. Then phase three included a detailed evaluation of wastewater collection, treatment, and disposal alternatives. And then phase four just built off of phase three and really dug down a little bit more and updated the plan. So the priority need areas that the plan identified are Lower Mass Ave, Baker Station, Lake Whalum, Mass Ave near Beale Street, Highland Street, Rolling Acres, and Pioneer Drive. Let's see.
Bill, in your assessment,
Yep. Mhm.
I know we're not too deep into it yet, but how does your more recent observations match up with the assessment that was made in 2016?
Well, right now, most people that want to connect are within the areas that already have sewer. I know in the past they queried some of these areas in different roads if they wanted to expand. And the most recent one was what in 20, I think it was in 22. I think it was right before I started working here, and the people said no, they didn't want it. So I think we've been pretty much following the plan.
Excellent. Please continue.
All right. So the plan recommended that the town should implement institutional and system management procedures prior to future infrastructure construction. Right, so they wanted us to look at wastewater conservation, stormwater management, nutrient management, and develop a septic management plan. So it went further into those areas that are recommended. It actually said where the flow should go. So the Lower Mass Ave, Baker Station, Lake Whalum, Mass Ave, Beale Street, Highland Street, Rolling Acres, and Pioneer Drive. It recommended sending all that wastewater to Leominster because Leominster has more capacity for it. And it costs us a little bit less to send it to Leominster as opposed to Fitchburg. So one difference from phase three to phase four was it no longer recommended that Lower Mass Ave and Mass Ave at Beale Street transport the generated wastewater to Fitchburg, right? So it changed it, send it over to Leominster. That was one of the biggest changes that I saw.
Excellent.
All right. So the purpose of the report wastewater management needs to have been, let me start again. For the purposes of this report, wastewater management needs were evaluated on 5 categories: public health, water supply protection, protection of surface waters, preserving community character, and managing growth. So the report was built around those needs. I don't have any other notes. I could, at some point, I guess if you guys want the full report, I could put it on a thumb drive and get it to you that way. Because it's 247 pages. It was 24 megabytes, so it'll never go through email.
You could put it on a Google Drive and share, make it private, but share the link.
Yeah, that's good thought. I will do that.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
The 11 areas that aren't suited for traditional septic, that's just because proximity to lakes, or
Well, there's 11 areas total. Yeah, so there's the areas that were identified for future expansion. From what I could see was, the soils aren't suitable.
okay,
They're near lakes, right? There's the potential of a septic system of a field that could contaminate a lake.
okay,
Yeah, some of the lots are too small in the
Yeah.
areas.
okay,
So
that makes
for a
sense.
variety of reasons, yeah.
And then, there's a couple mentions of analyzing whether or not, conventional Title V will provide adequate sanitation through the 2026 or 2036.
Mhm.
That asking to like independently determine whether septic systems are good enough, or do we expect like the code to be more like particular and that current septic tanks might not meet the legal requirements? Or I'm not really sure exactly what that's asking.
Yeah, so what it's saying is, yeah, you're right. Can a Title V septic system be designed to meet code in whatever given area? The report goes into that a little bit. You know, they've granted exceptions over the years, if the lot was too small or the soils weren't right, different reasons. They granted some exceptions. It's not up to the commission to look at that.
Okay,
But
I guess that
it
answers
was-
my question really, because like you're
Yeah.
gonna have a lot that is zoned to be built on, but it can't meet Title V. Does that mean we're required to find a way to get a sewer reaching them kind of thing, or?
Well, it doesn't require us to do that. It may be prudent to do that. And,
Yeah.
the report goes into which areas we should be looking at first for future expansion, right?
I think generally you'd assume that the farther these lots get from the center of town and the already sewer accessible areas, we're running into fewer properties that are too small for septic.
Correct.
Okay,
Right.
okay. I think that's all my questions.
Mhm.
Excellent. Does anybody else have any other questions? All
No.
right. If everybody's all set, well, move on to number B and talk about the commission vacancies. And I thought I'd ask, is there any updates on finding that letter that went out last year?
Yeah. I talked to the town manager about it a little bit. It didn't really get too much traction. I'm trying to remember how it went, but it didn't go too far. If I suppose if the commission wants to do their own letter, I don't see why we couldn't. But a town-wide letter for other commissions, yeah, there wasn't too much traction for that.
kind of surprised by that.
Hmm.
Okay, well, gentlemen, I think, you know, a letter worked before. I think a letter would be uh, definitely recommended now to take another shot at, you know, some very helpful new members. So, do we want to talk about maybe working on our own letter to put together? It would be helpful if we had a copy of that old one. Do you, Scott, do you or Joe have the letter that you got?
No, that,
Yeah,
sorry.
I don't.
we must have it on the shared drive somewhere. I
Yeah,
didn't
It
look for it.
was,
A manipulate.
must have
it
it.
looked like a photocopy of a photocopy of a photocopy written in like 1987, so it looked like it might have come off an old mimeograph machine and then scanned a few times. I did see somebody on the Conservation Commission put something online, you know, selling the commission and the commitment, and then referred them to the volunteer form on the town site. So I did see that a few days ago. And I don't know, I think a lot of people are, I guess we can maybe see if we can get any interest at the town meeting, because I think there seems to be a little bit of a public push in the sense of some people are getting sick of hearing some complaints about stuff, but then the same people not volunteering. So it might, that might come up.
that would be great if it came up.
Yeah. But who knows? I don't know. I heard the plan for dinner at this meeting.
Okay,
I coach a couple of a 4-year-old soccer team and a 5-year-old soccer team on Saturdays, so I might make a pitch to the other parents after practice, see if I can drum up any interest, kind of a younger crowd. I don't know, maybe they've got some interest in getting involved. A lot of them new to town kind of thing, so been rained out the last couple weeks, but and we're off this week, but I guess next Saturday I can see if anybody's interested.
that would be
I was gonna
great.
say, it's supposed to rain this Saturday too on you, even if you did have a game.
Well, should a soccer game actually happen, that would be great, Joe. Greatly appreciated. All right, so where do we want to leave this right now?
Guess we'll just, you know, I might be able to just come up with some form of draft or whatever, and I'll, you know, and then maybe run it by the next meeting or email you guys and we can bring it up at the next meeting. Because I don't remember it being a very
Involved.
long, detailed letter. If I remember it being maybe 3 or 4 sentences.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
did you know that your local sewer department and like is overseen by a group of some number of elected officials, and they volunteer their time, and if you're interested in
Yeah.
participating, come like send an email to this person.
I like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
short and direct is good. Shorter the better.
I guess I could, well, I will look at the town volunteer form and get the email address off of there too, to include with the form. I think ours went to a particular person. I'm not sure if that's still how it's working, but I think they have a generic email address for the volunteer opportunities.
Excellent. All right, well, if you're willing to do that, Scott, that would be great, and
Yeah.
shoot it to us. We'll have a chance to talk about it at the next meeting, and
Yeah, I think we got a couple weeks till the next meeting anyways, right? Plus I'll
yeah,
talk to some people at the meeting, the
that'd be
town
great.
meeting, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Very good. Okay. And then moving on.
I found the letter. I could share
Oh,
it.
you did?
Hey, how about this guy?
Right.
Was I
Let's see
right?
how
Was it
closely
like
I
three-
remembered the wording.
Yeah, it was like 3, 4 sentences. Well, all right, 3 bullet points. How's that?
Yeah, we can easily recreate that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, can you just email it to us?
sure.
Okay. We can just tweak it if even needed.
Yeah,
New date.
that's great. Thank you, Bill. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
Something to
Yeah,
start
you're
with.
welcome.
How about that? I'm gonna call that progress.
Right? Wonder what else he's got in there.
All right.
We should hand sign all 1,000 of them for a personal touch too before we.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we can make it into a stamp.
I do have a signature stamp.
Very good, gentlemen. Very good. Okay, so let's yeah, we'll take a look at that particular letter and maybe come back next meeting, kind of throw our ideas around about any changes we may or may not want to make to it. And
Yeah,
from there.
sounds good.
Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. All right, we're moving forward to the DPW Director / Sewer Business Manager updates. And the first line item there is actually we have the minutes from March 25th, 25 and April 15th, 25. Did you gentlemen have a chance to get a look at those minutes?
I did.
I did as well.
Excellent. All right, if there's no need for additions or changes, let's do a vote for that. If I could have somebody make a motion for those 2 meeting minutes, would be great.
I'll make a motion to accept the previous meeting's minutes.
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
All right, we've got a motion. It's been seconded. Scott,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
and I for myself. The minutes have been accepted. And thank you, Jane, for your excellent work on those. Moving on to the fourth quarter FY25 billing. I understand it's been printed, and Andrew, do you have any updates for that?
Yes, I think it's a success. I think I'm 99.9% confident that this bill run went
I
better than last.
I got
bill
it today. I
No.
got the, I think, text and email from Unipay. Was that the name
Yeah,
of the?
so on Unipay, yep, it
Yep,
should be
I-
on Unipay. So I had, even though no one's received their bill through mail, they can go ahead and pay it online.
Yeah, I got the notifications today, so
Yeah, I did as well.
at least that part worked.
So I am, like I said, a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of going over multiple things, but I think we got it, and I'm happy about that. So, and I hope the residents will be too, and a little less frantic over it this time.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's great that you were able to get those bugs out and everything, something that's been a challenge for a while.
Yep, it has been, but like I said, it's my due diligence to make sure that everything is correct. And I think Bill can see that I've, any issues that I've run into, I did, bring it up to him, and I'm like, nice, look at this, Bill. There's some crazy things, but I've adjusted things, and this bill run should be accurate for everyone.
Andrew,
And as always, if there's something amiss that for some reason, they're more than welcome to call in, and I'll take a look and see what's going on.
That's great, Andrew. Thank you very much. We appreciate all
Sure.
your efforts on that and your double checking, and you've just been amazing with not just picking things up and taking on this challenge, but you've made sure that it's being done the right way. And I know Bill's been essential in helping you with that. But just wanted to say we appreciate what you do, and we appreciate you getting that together. So,
Well, thank you. I appreciate all of you. So
Yes, we do.
excellent.
So So Brett, I just want to echo all that. Munis threw about 14 curveballs at him. We had to bring in 2 different consultants and he worked through it all, got it through.
Nice.
And
Yep.
even after he got them printed, he caught the one that was gonna bill somebody $14,000. He caught that, so.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
all in the correct formats as well.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
it's formats that I've been relying on, but it's a lot
Yeah.
of hard work to
Yeah.
run through and just make sure that every single number is not wonky. And honestly, there's some numbers that you might not think that are wonky, but they are.
Mm.
So I said I have our printing report that error and that 14 that the Munis system in the report it doesn't tell you the actual billing number. It just told me, oh, this is where it went, but I went in, but it moved that number over into the billing number, and I had to check that too. So it's double checking, extra checking. It's very redundant, I would say. But I think we got it, and I'm happy about that. Very happy.
Great.
excellent. Great job. And so I take it the software isn't still doing quite what it needs to do
I
yet?
said I'm not sure. I'm hoping that once we go into the cloud, I don't know when that is, Bill. It was this month, but they say once everything goes into cloud, things won't be as wonky. But hoping for the best. But at least, like I said, I feel as though I've been working on the system daily for X amount of months, just trying to figure things out. I think I have a grasp of how it works. So
Yeah.
at this point.
That's cool. That's huge.
Excellent. Does anybody want to have any other questions for Andrew on this subject, or?
I'll only ask the sub question of did they turn on the partial payment option?
I talked to Mylene a couple times. She was away last week, so this is the first week she's been back. So I will ask her about that tomorrow, because like I said, I've been doing, trying to.
Well, especially where the current bills are going out, so
You're exactly.
it's a pretty good opportunity to get it in front of people.
For sure.
Okay,
But I will make sure that that's done. Well,
sounds
if it
good.
hasn't already been.
Excellent. Well, great job. And it's good to have those out. Great. We'll take it from there. Keep up the great work, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then we're got a question for Bill regarding the manhole repairs. Where do we stand there at the moment, sir?
So I reached out to In Situ Forum and they told me they want to start work sometime in June. They're going to start sending in all their submittals shortly. So looks like we're on track there.
Excellent. Does anybody have any questions for Bill regarding this?
Nope.
Great. Oh, we're on a roll here, folks. And then we have the town meeting slideshow. Do we have any updates there, Bill?
Yeah, so let me share the screen. So all but we have what, 3 articles, 4 articles, 3 articles. Only one of them, 2 of them are on the consent calendar, meaning that they're really non-controversial. So they group a bunch of warrant articles together and they do a vote on all of them at the same time. So I put slides for like this one. The first one you see Article 21, transfer of funds at the OPEB. So that's on the consent calendar. So this slide will probably never get shown, but it's here, it's available. Just explains what OPEB is. The big one is the budget, right? So that's Article 22 here. So just a quick slide to explain the budget a little bit. I guess the big takeaway from this one is we do have to use retained earnings to balance our budget, but we are not raising our rates, which is good for the customers. I talked about rising costs though a little bit, because next year we're probably gonna have to raise rates,
Mhm.
you know. We'll address that when we get there, but that's the way it's trending. And I did put the picture of a clog and, you know, try to remind people that clogs are serious problems, right? And don't put anything down the toilet that shouldn't be in there. Knock on wood, clogs have been way down since, you know, we made a big push last year to get the news out about clogs, and it really helped. So we'll keep pushing on it because it saves us money, saves the
Absolutely.
users
And also
money.
maybe even a congratulations in some way saying, hey, you're paying attention and it's saving everybody money kind of thing.
Yeah.
I did incorporate that into our bills if anyone, if they,
Oh,
you know,
you did.
customers look at it.
That's great. All right then.
So the next slide's part of the summary of the budget, shows our revenues. That's, and then I have subsequent sides for each of these, the revenues, indirect cost, the expenses, and the budget deficit. And I broke it down this way because of the way the article is written. So the numbers here will match what's written in the article. It's kind of strange how it's written. So I'll try to my best to explain it if somebody questions it, but so then here's our estimate of revenues. And I put indirect cost on that same page because it's revenues minus indirect cost is one of the numbers that shows up on in the article, this 1.276 million. That shows up in the article. That's why I kind of put it that way. And our estimate of expenses. Right, and obviously the biggest expense is the user fees, but that's the wastewater we send to Leominster and Fitchburg. That's the big expense.
Mhm.
So typically at town meetings, there's not too many questions on the sewer budget, but you know, so I only did 4 slides for it. It should be sufficient. And then this is another one, Article 23, moving money into the I&I fund. That's another one that'll be on the consent calendar, so this slide probably won't be shown at town meeting. And this one too, the 24, move money to the sewer reserve capacity fund. It's another one that's on the consent calendar that we probably don't need the slide, but it's here, we're ready.
Yeah.
So the slides were due last Friday, so I sent them in, even though you guys haven't had a chance to look at them. Probably should have done it earlier, but sorry about that.
And I think it's fine.
They look good to me.
We knew it all before, and now it's just graphic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just put together so you can kind of comprehend it a little bit.
Mhm.
Very nice.
So Brett, do you want me to present the slides at the town meeting, or are you coming? You're gonna present, or?
Well, if you could do so, because the reality is I don't hear not just not well, but the acoustics in that room. I've gone to, I don't know how many meetings, and if I've been able to interpret more than a couple of words, unfortunately, my impairment affects me too much in that room. So if you could handle
Understood.
that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, thank you.
Bill, I would say the only thing that I've heard outside rumblings is people are still, somebody brought up at the last town meeting, I'm sorry, the finance committee meeting, that our billing issues still weren't resolved, and he's just, obviously isn't caught up currently, but he did put that out on live broadcast, even though it's incorrect. So you might just have to give some reassurances that the billing's working, and hopefully even the partial pay will be up there. Might be a good platform, because I'm sure that's the one thing they're gonna bring up, because, you know, they were harping on the 26% uncollected part. And
Yeah,
it could have just been one person, but the fact that they put it out there again after it seemed to be resolved a month ago, you know,
yeah,
it was a little disheartening, but get it out in front of them.
okay.
That was it on
Yeah,
that.
so that's the demands that we weren't able to get out, right?
Yes.
Andrew, we
Yeah,
got them
it was
out the last time though, right?
Yeah, so
Munis
we
problem.
got those out. Yeah, we did, and the
Yep.
billing good for this quarter, that's going out. And if there's any demands that haven't been paid, that's still just it's gonna reflect on that bill for this quarter as well.
Right.
So I said, the next process is doing demands again, the proper way.
Yeah.
But like I said, I have to see, you know, I might have to talk to Randy again and see like why I'm getting, you know, those $20 amounts, because I don't want to send out double demands. So whoever owes a demand, technically from that time, you know, time period that I did the demands, Q4 billing is going to still reflect that for the people that haven't paid their bill fully. So,
Mhm.
but like I said, everything that I looked at number wise came out pretty perfect. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just brought up the past dues and the munis problems, all which
Right.
at
Right, and
least on
unfortunately,
their
there are
way to
some-
resolving themselves.
Right,
At least the
right.
technical part is done. Now it's
technical.
on just the, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That was
there's
more-
not much,
a heads up.
right? Thank you. There's not much we can do about people not paying their bills, you know, other than just keep sending them a bill, keep sending them a
Yeah,
demand.
but no,
right?
but our part is working now, as it should. So
Yeah,
it's a good opportunity to get it out there, especially if it gets brought up.
Of course. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll try to slide that in somewhere.
Well, no, I was just, you know, I'm not saying that you have to sign it in. I just say that it might be,
Yeah.
I'm sure that was the same person.
Some
is-
doubts, and I
will
understand
put up to
that.
like- Yeah,
Just be ready. It might be coming up.
Yeah,
yep.
all right, good.
That's a good thought. Excellent. So, all right, do you have, is there anything else we should talk about regarding the town meeting? Gentlemen and ladies?
Do we have a requirement to be there? What's the expectation of the board members?
Well, there really isn't.
Commission. I'm just asking, I don't know. This would be my first real one.
Well, you were there last year.
Yeah, but
That's
that was,
Joe's-
that
Joe
was
Citizen.
that wasn't the regular town meeting. That
Oh,
was
that's
the
right, that was
special
November.
town. meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
You know,
assuming this one would
this-
be more fun
Yeah.
on a grander scale.
Yeah.
You're in an unknown at that point. No, you're big time
Yeah.
commissioners there.
Oh, yeah. That's
Right.
That's where we're going with this.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be fun for whoever can get there. And Bill, I appreciate you doing the presentation.
No, understood.
You wouldn't want me up there. I'd be like,
Bill,
I do the
where are you
presentation,
slated
people
in
would
the
ask me
agenda,
something,
Bill?
I'd be like.
Where-
I get
where
This
is
one is, this one
sewer-
is what,
sewer-
Article 22, 23? I forget what's number, but
So it's
But-
good chunk down.
yeah, but I'll be talking on Article number 1 too, so
Yeah.
I'll be up there a couple times.
You got a long day ahead of you.
Yep.
Very good. Well, thank you, gentlemen. So moving on to what looks to be our last subject here, would be the assistant to the business manager position. I understand there's not really any new updates there, or are there?
There is. So
Oh,
we
great.
interviewed a woman named Susan. We recommended to hire her. She's been going through the hiring process with the HR department. And it looks like her start date is going to be May 27th, if everything goes as planned.
Oh,
Oh,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Andrew.
that's great.
yeah, no, yeah. I didn't know that. either.
Yeah.
Here
Just
you go.
found out today.
Excellent. Well, that's great news. That's great news. Let's hope that moves forward. We certainly can use all the help we can get, and Andrew could certainly use the support. Excellent. Gentlemen, is there anything else regarding current business we'd like to discuss before we move on to future agenda items?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Very good. Excellent. Well, it's been a great meeting. Regarding future agenda items, let's see. I'm not sure we should probably certainly leave the commission vacancies on there.
Yep.
Then, of course, we'll have our director and manager updates, whatever's makes sense there. Maybe we could have a mention of the town meeting and anything that may or may not have come up there. After that, maybe another update on our potential assistant. Anything other business that you gentlemen believe should be on there? Mr. Manager and Director, we'll leave that in your hands.
All right.
Excellent. All right. If anyone has anything else they could think of to add to that. Otherwise, we'll ask if there's any public comment or comment from commissioners or staff before we move on. Seeing none.
There's no public on, but probably should throw a pitch out there for the citizens of Lunenburg to go to your town meeting. There's a lot of important items there. Make your voice heard. Go and vote.
Thank you, Mr. Director. Appreciate that. Great. And I believe we have a vote before we get back together too, or are we meeting before that? Am I wrong on that? I might be.
The next meeting is after town meeting. Right?
Okay.
And I think it's 13th or something like that. Was that what was on?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Our upcoming meetings are going to be, our next one is May 13th, as Scott just mentioned, 2025 at 7 p.m., which will be a regular hybrid meeting at the DPW. The meeting after that's going to be May 27th at 6 p.m. That'll be a Zoom meeting like tonight. We've got one coming up after that will be in June. That'll also be June 10th. That'll also be a 7 p.m. regular hybrid meeting at the DPW. And then June 24th will be a Zoom. And we'll look forward to seeing all of you then. And with that, I'd like to ask for a motion to have our meeting adjourned, gentlemen.
Motion to adjourn.
I will second the motion to adjourn.
We have a motion that's been seconded. Joe?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
And I for myself. Have a great night, Lunenburg. Thank you very much.